Hello my fellow working class heroes, good day. I am Carlo and welcome to Carlo Excels. These are the objectives of this episode. First, we're gonna talk about using the replace command on constants, then we're gonna talk about using the replace commands on formulas, and then using the replace commands on formatting, and then afterwards, I'm gonna teach you how to use the replace command #. Now, before anything else, let me first clarify that today we're gonna use the replace command, not the replace function. So, first of all, what is the replace command? The replace command in Microsoft Excel or in all Microsoft Office applications is a command that allows you to ask your computer to search your document for certain data and then replace it with other data. The replace command is a very handy tool, and once again, it's in all Microsoft Office applications. Now, it's very strange and very sad that many people do not know its existence. In fact, from time to time, I still see people rummaging through thousands of pages worth of documents just to find one word and replace it with another word, or find one name and then replace it with another name, or even find one date and then replace it with another date. All of that could have been very easily done in seconds with just the replace command. On the screen right now, we have here, once again, our sample list of students, and we have here their grade 10 grades. How do we access the replace command? There are two easy ways to access it. First of all, you will see on my screen right now, please pay attention to the ribbon. Please go to the Home tab and then look at the far right. You will see there, Find and Select. So, there are commands here, handy of which is find. This is what you use if you're just finding something, not necessarily replacing it. But the one we're paying attention to for this episode is replace. If you click on replace, you will see this dialog box over here, and that is the replace command. An alternative way of accessing these very useful commands is through a hotkey. If you press on your keyboard Control F, you will access the find command. But if you press on your keyboard Control H, again Control H, you will access the replace command, which will be the topic of this episode. On the screen right now, you have sample grades of students, some of them passing and some of them failing. So for example, we want to find all of the failing grades of students. So we're talking about grades from 74 all the way down to 70, or any grades lower than 75. We have to find each and every grade that is failing, and we want to set it to a passing grade of 75. For people who do not know the replace command, what they will normally do is they will do this manually. So for example, they will look at the grades of Abby, and then they will see that there is a grade there of 74, and they will manually change it to 75. Or look at the next row, there's none there. Is there none there? There's none there. They look at the next row, and then, ooh, there's another one here, there's another one here. It's gonna take them a few minutes to do this if we were talking about one class. But if we're talking about one batch or one school's worth of students, for example, 200 students in this example, they're gonna have a hard time. So if you look at what's on the screen right now, you will see that, for visual reference, I changed all of the failing grades into red so that it's much easier for you, the viewers, to find the failing grades. Now let's try the replace command. Once again, we have to find all of the failing grades and then change them to 75. How do we do it? First, we access the replace command by pressing Ctrl H, and then of course we get this dialog box. Now in this sheet, I know that there are 5 kinds of failing grades. There are 74s, there are 73s, 72s, 71s, and 70s. So let's start with 70 first. Now you'll see here on the screen, there is a 70 over here, there's another one over here, and there is another one here, and there's another one over here, there's another one over here. So let's find the 70s in this document. This is how you do it. You put it in the dialog that says find what, and then replace it with 75. This is how you tell Microsoft Excel, find 70s and then replace them with 75s. If you press on the button replace all, Microsoft Excel will do all of this automatically, and when you press that, it will say Excel has completed its search and has made 43 replacements. Press OK, and then you will notice that all of the 70s that we had here before are now 75s in seconds. So let's continue the process. Once again, Control H. Now let's ask Microsoft Excel to find 71, replace all of the 71s, 72s, and then replace all of the 72s, 73s, and replace all of the 73s, and finally replace all of the 74s with 75s. And in seconds, we have now accomplished what it would have taken people minutes to do it. We have here all of the failing grades now turned into 75. So that is the power of the replace command. And yes, once again, this is present in all Microsoft Office applications. But because this is a Microsoft Excel channel, I'm gonna talk specifically about the various applications of the replace command for Microsoft Excel. Here's another great application of the replace command. So what we have on the screen right now are results of a sample survey on students. So we have here the students. There are, once again, 200 students. And then you have here their answers to 5 questions. So these 5 questions, they were asked to rate something, and their choices were very satisfactory, satisfactory, neutral, unsatisfactory, and very unsatisfactory. So you have here their answers. Say, for example, you're gonna calculate their answers by assigning the very satisfactory answers as 5, and then 4 for satisfactory, 3 for neutral, 2 for unsatisfactory, and 1 for very unsatisfactory. And then you're going to average the answers. So how do we do that? Now, once again, many people who do not know the replace command will have to do this manually. Like, they will look at each and every answer and then assign 5 for that, 3 for this. This is, I think, a 2. This is a 3. This is another 2. Aside from the fact that it's going to be very, very slow, once you get to the middle part and your brain starts getting tired, your eyes start getting tired, there is a high likelihood of errors when doing the encoding process. But of course, we know the replace command, so we don't have to go through all of that pain and misery. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna click on this cell and press Ctrl C so that I can get the very satisfactory words, and then press Ctrl H to bring up the replace dialog box. So I'm gonna find all of the very satisfactory answers and I'm gonna replace them with 5. Once I press replace all, you will now notice that all of the very satisfactory answers have now been replaced to 5. So for this next detail, please listen well. Please be very careful about what you replace. Say, for example, look at these words over here, satisfactory. And you will notice that the words satisfactory is actually also present in unsatisfactory. Because, well, satisfactory, that's over here. This is satisfactory. And it's also present in the choice of very unsatisfactory. It's over here. If you use the replace command for the word unsatisfactory, it's going to replace this here, and it's also going to replace this here. Okay, let's demonstrate how that looks like. So I'm gonna take the satisfactory word here, I'm gonna press Ctrl H, and then I'm gonna put the satisfactory word here, and I'm gonna replace it with 4, and then press replace all. Now, you will notice that if you look at the data now, you will notice that all of the satisfactory answers have now been replaced to 4, but also you have here words like un4, like this, and you also have very un4. You will notice that it's because this used to be unsatisfactory, but the word satisfactory has now been replaced by 4. This used to be very unsatisfactory, but the word satisfactory has now been replaced by 4. So that's what I mean when I say be very careful about what you replace. So of course, to undo that error of ours, we can just press Ctrl Z to undo, and then we can go back to work as usual. So instead of starting with the word satisfactory, let's start with the word very unsatisfactory first, because, well, very unsatisfactory, the whole word or the whole 2 words of this is unique and is not present in all other choices. So let's use this word. Let's copy that. Let's press Ctrl H to bring up the dialog box, paste that here, and then press replace all of that with 1. And then when you press replace all, now all of the very unsatisfactory words have now been replaced by 1. Next, let's do unsatisfactory here. Let's replace all of the unsatisfactory words with 2. And then, there you go. Have all now been replaced by 2. Now let's take neutral. Let's replace all of the neutrals with the number 3. And then replace all of the neutrals with 3, replace all, and now you only have satisfactory words remaining. So in this case now, it is now safe to replace the satisfactory word with 4, and then press replace all. There you go. Once again, what would have taken you like minutes or probably hours to re-encode has now been done in seconds using the replace command. Now, I want you to realize the power of the replace command. In this case, if you are encoding the answers of surveys, instead of having to write long sentences which represent the answers of your respondents, all you have to do is to input just numbers or symbols and then use the replace command to later on replace all of the numbers or symbols into what the actual answers are. So for example, you conducted a survey and you're trying to encode the answers of respondents. Instead of having to type the words very satisfactory, very unsatisfactory, things like that, which are, quite long words, all you have to do is to simply write numbers. You just put here 5, 3, 2, 3, 3, 1, for example, and then all of that just took seconds. And then once you have all of the numbers like so, you can simply use the replace command to convert them into words. And one more beautiful thing about the replace command is, it's not even just a whole sheet or a whole document thing. You can pick the cells that you want to use the replace command on. All you have to do, for example, if we want to change just the answers of the first 10 students, all we have to do is to highlight the part that we want to use the replace command on, like so, and then we just press Ctrl H while all of that is highlighted. So say for example, we want to change all of the 3s into the word neutral, like so, and then when you press the button replace all, it will just change the entries on the places you highlighted. Now, so far, we've used the replace command on constants. You have constant values during the first example, you have constant text during the next example. But one really nice thing about the replace command is it works on formulas. So this is sample data. Say for example, in your school, you have here grade 7, then you have your grade 8, grade 9, grade 10, the grade levels of junior high school. Then you have here the various classes, your sections. You have section 7A, 7B, 7C, etc. Then you have here the number of males and the number of females. And then of course, total. The total is simply calculated by using a basic operation. You're adding here B2 plus C2. Now, for example, what you'd want to do is you don't want to total them. You want to find out how many more males are there or how many more females are there in a particular class. So instead of adding, you just have to subtract. And by subtracting, you will know if you have equal males or females, or if there are more males, and if there are more males, by how much, if there are more females, by how much. So all you have to do is to highlight all of these cells over here and then perform the replace command. When you do the replace command, you want to find all of the operators, addition operators, in other words, the plus signs, and then you want to replace them with the subtraction operator or the minus signs. And when you do replace all, you will notice that the formulas themselves have changed, not the final data, but the formulas within them. So in this case, the B2 plus C2 here turned into B2 minus C2. And with this data, you will know with a positive number, there are more males than females. There are 2 more males than females. In this case, also the same. There is 1 more male and female over here. A negative number will say that there are more females by 1, and a 0 will tell you there's an equal number of males and females. So once again, we use the replace command, and in seconds, we were able to change formulas. Here's another example. So we have here, you have here 10 students, and then you have here the grades of these students on 5 quizzes, and then you have here the sum. Now, say for example, we don't want the sum. We changed our mind, or our leader or our head instructor has changed their mind on how we're supposed to calculate this. We want the average, not the sum. Easy peasy. All you have to do is highlight all of that, press Ctrl H, and then change all of the words sum to average. Now, what's going to happen is all of the formulas here that used to say sum will now be changed to average. So highlight that again, press replace all, and you will see now that these are now, this is now not a sum function, this is now an average function. So the replace command works on operators, it works on function names, it even works on cell references. If you were here during our lesson on relative and absolute references, this sheet should be familiar to you. So once again, this sheet is a performance task sheet. So you have here the individual grades of students here, and all of these grades are added to the group grade, the one singular group grade for all of the students. And you have here this space over here adds the individual grade plus the group grade to get the final performance task grades of students. So say for example, you finish this quarter and then you want to move on to the next quarter, so you have to make another sheet that looks like this. So all you have to do is copy all of that and then insert here, and then you have here a new sheet for you to play with for the second quarter. But you will notice that all of the numbers, all of the formulas here are still pointing to $L$2, which is the group grade of the previous quarter. Now that's a problem, but that is unavoidable because remember, you used absolute references in this case. That is why even when you copy pasted the columns from the left to the right, the cell references remain the same because they're in absolute reference form. So with the replace command, this is very, very easy to solve. All you want to do is to replace $L$2 over here with $W, which is, the group grade of this current quarter. We want to change the references $L$2 to $W, $2. So highlight all of these cells here and then press Ctrl H. So you want to find $L$2 to $W, $2 there. And then when you press replace all, you have now replaced 200 entries. So look at the formula, it now says $W, $2. Now this works as intended because when you change the group grade here, let's take this to 0. Now it only changes the quarter it belongs to. It does not change it here. And then when you change the group grade over here, it only changes this quarter here, not here. So it works. Here's another use of the replace command. What if you don't want to change the entries on a cell? What if you just want to highlight it yellow so that it's easier to see? You can also use the replace command for that. So we're back here at our sample grade 10 grades. And yes, some of these grades here are still failing, like this 72, you have a 70 over here. Now, what if we just want to highlight the failing grades? What we can do here is, let's highlight all of these cells here, and then let's press the replace command. So, we're looking for failing grades. Let's start first with 70. Now, you will see here, there is a button that says options. So with the options, you have additional options here. Like for example, you want to find the data only within this sheet or within this workbook. You want to match cases, or you want to match the entire cell's contents. And then for example, you have here, you can search by rows or by columns, and then you can look in formulas, or you can just look in just the results. So in this case, we want to find all of the 70s no matter what the format is, and then we want to replace them with 70s too. But in this case, we want to set a format. So let's press format. So you have here, you can replace it with bold. Say for example, let's put a bold format here, and then we want to fill it with the color yellow. Now, what will happen is, if you press replace all, you will now notice that all of the 70s have now been highlighted and bolded. So let's do this for the rest of the failing grades. For the 71s, let's do that. And you have now replaced all of the 71s. So the 72s, 72s, like so. And then the 73s, like so. And then of course, the 74s, like so. In fact, as far as formatting is concerned, you can actually do it the other way around. Say for example, once again, let's highlight all of these cells here. And then what we want to do is press Ctrl H. This time, what we want to do is, we want to ask Microsoft Excel to find all of the cells that have a yellow highlight and a bold font. You want to find all of that, and you want to replace them with regular font, and then no fill color, but you want to replace them all with 75. So if you press replace all here, you will then notice that all of these grades here will lose all of their special formatting and will now be converted to 75. Press replace all, and you have here all of the grades been replaced, and this time you used formatting to find them. So far, what I've taught you are the basics of the replace command. What I'm about to teach you next is one of the most advanced tricks that you can do with the replace command. So if you were here during our previous lesson, you will recognize this sheet as the sheet that we used when we were practicing absolute references, or in this case, absolute rows. So let's say, for example, in this particular sheet, you have here your formulas, which is score divided by items, which is in absolute row format, times 100. Say, for example, what we want to do is we want to convert the calculation to base 50 format. So we want this to say times 50 plus 50. Okay, and then what we want to do is we want to round this whole result here to 0 decimal places. So essentially, what we want to do is we want to replace this part over here that says times 100. We want to replace this with times 50 parenthesis and then plus 50, like so. We want to replace it with that, and then we want to replace we want to add here, we want to put here the round function, like so, and then add another comma here to add 0 digits so that we can round this off to 0 decimal places. So when we press enter, you have here this formula over here, and say, for example, we want to replace it with do the same process with all of the other cells here using the replace command. The problem with this is you cannot simply do the replace command, especially when you are adding both to the left and to the right of formulas, because what will happen is, say, for example, I'm gonna take all of these characters over here, and then I'm gonna replace this part here with the round with the left part of the round function. So let's try this. Control H. Just a moment. I'm gonna do Control H for these cells here. Control H, and then let's clear the formatting first, like so, and then we want to replace all of the instances of equal sign and then double open parenthesis, just like here, and then we want to replace it with this. So if you try to do the replace command in this case, when I press all, Microsoft Excel is going to say that you are missing a parenthesis, etc. The reason why that is happening is because even though you change the left part of the formula over here, Microsoft Excel is expecting the right part of the formula instantly. So what you have to do is you first have to convert these formulas into simple text data. And once it is in text data, it is now much easier for us to do the replace command to replace what used to be formulas. So how do we do that? What we do is we highlight all of these cells here, and what we do is we press Control H, and then what we do is we replace all of the equal signs with a hashtag, like this. Once we do this, let's press replace all, you will notice that something happened to our formulas. What happened is, because you changed all of the equal signs into hashes, all of these cells over here are now not recognized by Microsoft Excel as formulas. For Microsoft Excel, they are now simple text data. That is why they now look like that. And now, because they are simple text data, Microsoft Excel no longer cares about where you put this data. So you can simply copy all of this. You can simply copy all of this and then paste another instance over here. And Microsoft Excel is not going to check the references or auto-change them. Microsoft Excel is also going to disable all of the auto-correctness checking of the formulas, because as far as Microsoft Excel is concerned, these are not formulas. This same trick can also be done with the caret. Let's press Ctrl Z to convert all of that back into formulas, and then let's press Ctrl H again. So we want to find all of the equal sign, let's try another symbol. This also works with the caret. When I say caret, I mean this. The Knuth symbol. In mathematics, it's called the Knuth symbol. When used in simple text, it is the caret. So the caret is the symbol that you can find on your keyboard if you look at what's above the number 6 on your keyboard. So when you do replace all, you replace all of the equal signs with carets, and once again, you have essentially knocked out the formulas and turned them into text data. So you may ask, should I use hash or should I use caret? It depends on what you use, on what symbols you use frequently. If there are no carets on your sheet, then you can use the caret for this trick. If there are no hashes on your sheet, then you can use the hash for this trick. In my case, I rarely use the hash symbol, so I usually use the hash in this trick. So let's now perform the operation that we need to do. So once again, we want to replace this. We have here hash, open parenthesis, open parenthesis. We want to change all of that like so. And we want to change hashtag round. We want to change it into this part over here. So we have that, find this, and then replace it with this. Highlight all of that, and then replace all of that. And once again, we want to change this part here, the 100 and then close parenthesis part, the last part of the formula here. We want to change that into this, times 50 plus 50, 0, round off. So we want to change into that. And once again, we highlight the cells we want to change, and we press replace all, like so. And then you will notice that now all of these formulas have now the proper formulas. So let's now change all of these cells back to their formula form. So this time we want to find all of the hashes, because I use the hash trick for this. You want to find all of the hashes and then convert them back to the equal sign. When we press replace all here, now all of the formulas have come back to their original formula form, because they now have the equal sign. And you will now notice that all of these have now been rounded off to the nearest 0, and they have now the times 50 plus 50 calculation. Once again, the hash trick or the caret trick can be used to knock out formulas to make sure that you disable Microsoft Excel's automatic referencing on formulas, and to disable Microsoft Excel's auto-checking on formulas. And once you disable that, once you turn it into simple text data, you can use the replace command or the cut and copy paste or whatever it is you need to do, and then you can convert them back into formula form after you do your changes. So that's it for our lesson on the replace command. Once again, I am Carlo, and this is Carlo Excels. Thank you very much for watching.